I look within at all I have accomplished, of how much I enjoy doing it all. This allows me to enjoy my own craft, to enjoy the opportunity I have to do something I love to do, and to evolve my skills with my passion. Sometimes there needs to be a certain amount of distance between you and the event before you can see the truth of this teaching. But if you look closely at the situations in your past when you didn't get what you wanted, you'll likely find that you got exactly what you needed instead. A master of self finds the inner strength to embrace this principle with an open heart. When you live your life from a mindset of trust rather than a place of fear, the result is that you stop trying to force or control the people and situations that are happening around you, and instead surrender to whatever life brings. This doesn't mean you don't try to change things when it's within your power to do so. But as a master of self, you are adept at identifying the situations that are beyond your control. And in those instances, you trust and surrender to whatever the moment brings, because you know you will receive exactly what you need. You know that the place for competition and opponents exists in games only, not in daily life. You no longer compare yourself to others, nor see them as competitors. You simply do your best, and your passion will be evident in your efforts. Success is the natural consequence of doing something you love to do. The idea that you are not enough is an ancient one. The notion that somehow you are flawed, broken, unworthy, or at best, simply not enough, as it has been postulated in myths and legends since the beginning of recorded history. I find it amazing how many people in the dream of the planet have been domesticated into believing that they have some sort of inherent internal deficiency. The combination of these untruths creates an environment where conditional love thrives through the vehicles of comparison and competition, and the result is the fear that you will never be enough, and that you will never have enough. Of all the false ideas that you have been domesticated to, the idea that you are not enough may be the most damaging. You are not flawed, broken, damaged, or irredeemable. You are more than enough. You are perfect and complete exactly as you are. Much of the suffering you experience is self-inflicted, and it can be traced back to believing this untruth. This feeling of unworthiness is the primary reason you withhold unconditional love for yourself. The most effective thing you can do to bring about change in your life is to let this flawed idea go. As children, we all had role models or people we looked up to and wanted to be like. In many cases, our first role models were our parents or primary caregivers. And that gave way to siblings, teachers, sports figures, superheroes, and even friends. As we grew up, our role models often broadened to include artists, scholars, humanitarians, political leaders, or spiritual teachers. In all cases, we saw qualities in these people that we wanted in ourselves, and often endeavored to emulate them as a result. This is a wonderful way in which admirable qualities are passed from one personal dream to another. And yet, something that can be used in a positive way can also become a negative. In this case, you can begin to compare yourself to your role model and use their positive example as a tool to chide or whip yourself for not being more like them. You create conditions on your self-love based on a desire to be like someone else. When you catch yourself comparing your life to that of a role model and then admonishing yourself for not being more like them, that's your cue that the fog has crept back in and clouded your vision. Instead of comparing yourself to others and deciding that you are insufficient, use your role model's examples as motivation to bring the qualities you admire in them to fruition in your own everyday life. Another trap related to role models occurs when you mistakenly believe that a single role model or teacher has all of your answers. A situation like this can often occur on a spiritual path, especially when you first start to wake up and emerge from the smoke and fog. Admittedly, depending on the level of your prior domestication and attachment, it may seem like a role model or teacher does have all your answers, as you are just starting to find your own way. But as the initial bud of your awakening blossoms, you soon realize that in reality, you have all your own answers, and any role models or teachers you engage with are only there to point you on the way back home to yourself. You know that on the deepest level, everything you need is already inside you. As a master of self, you are forging your own path, creating your own journey to your own inner evolution. In the end, you understand that you are unique in your experience of life because no one else knows life from your perception but you. It is liberating to become aware that you only control your own will. And this knowledge allows you to enjoy everything you experience and do. The harmony and peace comes when you realize that there is no need to work so hard to be someone you think you should be. You are already perfectly yourself. The I am is an experience of life, not a symbol or model that you have to attain. In this way, the inner war is over again and again and again. As a master of self, peace reigns. Everyone gets exactly what they need in every moment, and this includes you. Look back at the list of your role model's qualities. Now write your name at the top of this list. You possess all of these qualities. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to recognize them in others. You may not have the skill of your role model in certain areas, but you have the ability and the potential to forge your own way if you choose to work toward that. In the end, you know that you are already perfect and complete, more than enough. And you will always receive exactly what you need in every moment. While you are grateful for the lessons you have learned from others, you now have the confidence to walk your own path because you know that everything you need is already inside of you. Because you recognize the suffering that domestication and attachment cause in yourself and others, you no longer try to control those around you with anger, guilt, or sadness in order to force them to believe or act the way you think they should. You respect everyone's ability to make their own decisions, which means you don't project onto them a mask of who you think they should be. Because you accept yourself for who you are now able to accept every other person for who they are. In those rare moments when you do slide and fall into a trap, as a master of self, you are able to regain your awareness and recover quickly. You know that you are doing the best you can at every moment. You no longer need to distort the world around you to fit your perception. You know who you are. And as a result, you can act and speak with complete confidence and without apology. Thus, your word becomes impeccable.